do you admit that this administration would have a clear edge in terms of not just resources, but also in terms of exposure? Because it is the first time that you do have a sitting president that is running for the second highest post in the land. In previous years, the most recent you've had is former President Arroyo, who ran for a much lower seat, meaning she ran for a local post in Congress. What do you make of that advantage? The budget is being discussed. And in the lower house, Martin Andanar was asked by congressmen, will you be covering the president, the PCOO? And he said yes, because he is the president. So he really did say there is an advantage for the incumbent in this case.
Well, definitely, they have all the advantages, resources, whether it's financial or logistical resources, and even, this keeps coming up, as a matter of information. Smartmatic. Hindi mo mayalas because there are reports that we keep on receiving, as a matter of fact, na hindi lang naman yung 2019 or 2016, nagsimula pa ito 2010, no? And worrisome, bothersome yung mga reports na dumarating sa amin that Smartmatic might have been compromised, and we're looking into this. We're not concluding, but we're looking into this.
And what would the compromise be of Smartmatic?
Well, sino ba yung nasa administration? Even during the hearings in the Senate, this was exposed by Senate President Tito. Yung transmission nauna pa doon sa election. And he presented documents to that effect. So it is a cause not only for worry, but it's a cause for alarm, because if the mandate will not be respected, and by the government, or yung mandate ng tao hindi masusunod, malaki problema natin.
Now,
we continue looking into this.
Okay.
And we are trying to,
No, I'm sorry to interrupt. Will you be investigating, and do you have fears with the fact that F2 Logistics wherein its officials, its top officials donated to President Duterte's 2016 presidential campaign, and no less than businessman Dennis Uy, who is known to be close to the president, has bagged the contract with COMELEC for the transportation of election-related paraphernalia and supplies this coming elections. Is this a concern to you?
Not just the area of warehousing, hindi lang sa aspeto ng warehousing. Maraming pwedeng magkaroon ng intervention. And we're trying to piece them together and find out how to correct or how to check yung possible na weaknesses dito sa entire election and transmission process. Kasi before, alam mo Karen, diniscuss na namin ito. Yung alam mo yung narinig mo siguro to yung meet me room. Ito yung sa data processing. Before wala ito. From the precinct, diretso na sa national, sa COMELEC, national for the canvas. And then diretso rin sa municipality, provincial, and so forth and so on. Pero ngayon nagkaroon ng another layer, and we're looking into this. And anyway, meron naman yung tinatawag na yung joint congressional oversight para dito sa mga elections. And we're trying to
but was it prudent? Was it prudent for the COMELEC to actually give this deal to F2 Logistics? The COMELEC has recently stood up for the company and said that the deal stays.
Well, as I said, yung warehousing is just one aspect kung saan pwede magkaroon ng interventions. And we're looking deeply into all these aspects na pwedeng magkaroon ng sabihin natin dayaan. And ang dayaan ngayon, hindi na lang yung sa mga precinct level, hindi na lang yung pag-aagaw balota, because in this day and age of modern technology, iba na yung usapan. Diba? It's computerized.
Okay. Now, we've talked about the president's corruption promises, anti-corruption promises. You've also called his drug war a failure. But you've said that in recent months, critics may say, where was Senator Ping Lacson? During the beginning of this administration, he didn't speak against the drug war of the president early on from 2016. You were silent during that time, as critics say. What is your response to that?
That is true, Karen. Ano? Bakit ba nakulong at na-convict yung pumatay kay Kian de los Santos? I spearheaded the investigation in the Senate, which led to the gathering of the evidence against the policemen concerned. And even earlier than that, I was exposing abuses by police officers. Natatanda mo yung kay Kevin Espinosa, di ba? Yung kay Marcos, who led the investigation, who spearheaded the investigation of all those shenanigans in the police force. Ako yun kasi chairman ako ng public order noon. Nakakalimutan ng mga tao because nada-drown out ng mga propaganda dahil nga meron nag-inject o nag-create nag-invent ng word na enabler, inattach sa akin. Yun na lang yung, alam mo, pagdating sa mga trolls, I have a Twitter account, lagi lumalabas yung enabler ka. And I won't admit that because even earlier in the campaign of this administration against illegal drugs, I was calling them out. But kung tama naman yung pag-implement do sa kanilang drug war, I was also supporting them, especially the police where I came from. Pero it's not accurate, it's unfair to say na earlier on wala akong ginawa at ngayon lang ako nagsasalita. We can go back and check the records in the Senate. I've been very consistent. Pagka merong mali, I call them out. Kaya minsan, di ba, binabalikan din ako ng presidente. So I think that's very unfair to accuse me of being an enabler of this administration. I have not been an enabler. I stick to what I think is right.
One of the issues that will be brought up this campaign for anyone running from the Senate is how what critics say her colleagues have remained silent during the abuses of this administration. With her case is Senator Laila De Lima. And this would be one of the issues brought up, given that you have Laila De Lima, who some say was actually a collateral damage of this drug war. Senator Lacson, did this administration, was it heavy-handed? Was it unjust in its treatment of Laila De Lima?
Well, nasa court yung kaso, and nag-undergo ng trial. No, it's on record. Ako ay nag-file ng resolution to allow Senator De Lima to participate in the Senate proceedings, even not only in the committee hearings, but even sa session. Co-author ko dyan si Senator Drilon. Dalawa kami nag-file ng resolution. Unfortunately, hindi naman na-adapt because we're only two or a minority. Alam mo naman, di ba, we practice democracy in the Senate. Majority always prevails. So kung hindi naman in-adapt ng majority, what can we do? But to say na kasama ako doon sa this is another troll operation. Kasama raw ako sa pagpapahirap kay Laila De Lima. When he was granted the court, yung medical furlough, and yung PNP, I think was not hesitating but taking too much time before that court order would be implemented. I was the one who personally called the camp commander. And Senator De Lima knows this, because he sent me a message thanking me for my effort. Wala namang nag-regress. Senator Drilon, of course, took the cardials and asked me, being a former chief PNP, baka naman pwede tulungan natin si Laila kasi mauubos na yung oras ng kanyang purlo. Sabi ko, yes. Tawagan ko yung camp commander. And when I called the camp commander, immediately he went to the detention cell of Senator De Lima and informed her na right away or the following morning, I think, or even that same night, she was, the court order was executed, was implemented, and brought her to the hospital.
Senator, are you seeing that sentiments are changing? Clearly, with the popularity of the president when he assumed office, you also had many of your colleagues who did not openly voice out their opposition to the president because of his popularity. And today you are seeing more emboldened lawmakers and even local officials speaking out. What do you believe has changed, Senator Lacson?
Ako, Karen, I can only speak for myself. Ano? I've been very consistent. I don't know about the others. But if you keep your ears near sa ground, ano, iba na rin talaga yung naririnig mo. Even the people, even yung mga common na mga taong naririnig natin, even media, even the business community, mukhang, nag-iiba yung sentiment. Yan ang naririnig namin sa ground. I don't know about the others.
Let's go straight to the campaign message, your platform yesterday. Ang mensahe po ninyong dalawa, it is enough, itama ang mali, ito na ang simula. You and Senate President Tito Soto were frankly not viewed as oppositors of President Duterte when he came into office. You've been criticized as enablers. Why do you think the message of enough is enough, itama ang mali, kayo ang simula, will resonate and will have credibility with voters?
First, let me rectify. Yung salitang enabler, may pinanggalingan lang yon. Galing ito sa isang dati namin kasama sa Senado. And ito yung nag-evolve, tinatag lagi sa amin. We are not enablers. I am not an enabler. I criticize when there's need to criticize. And I praise and I support when there's need to support. What's wrong with that? Kasi ang gusto ng mga ibang kasama natin, lalo na may mga political parties, pagka ikaw ay nakasama sa isang grupo, doon ka na lang mali o tama. Hindi naman ako ganun. Mulat sa pool, ever since I started my career in the Senate as a senator, lagi naman akong ganun eh. Laging personal credo ko nga ito, Karen, di ba? Ang mali, ang tama ay paglaban, ang mali ay labanan. What is right must be set right. What is wrong must be set right. What's wrong with that? So, hindi naman kailangan ma-identify ka sa isang grupo lamang. Kasi meron silang ganyang sense. I think that's a wrong sense of righteousness. Mali man o tama, kasi kasama ka doon sa partido na yon o sa grupo na yon, doon ka nakasuporta. I don't think so. I'm not like that.
You are one who advocated strongly for the anti-terror law, which of course this administration has pushed and oppositors have claimed breaks essentially or goes or hits the boundaries of our civil liberties. Paano mo didepensahan yun, Senator Lacson, na naiiba ka sa gobyernong ito given that ang muka ng anti-terror law sa Senado ay kayo po, sir?
Again, that is not quite accurate. Yung anti-terror bill was referred to my committee. Ako yung chairman ng Senate Defense Committee. So naturally sa akin na-refer and I had to defend it. Not only because it was referred to my committee, but I also believe that the Human Security Act, 2007 pa yun na ipasa, iisa lamang yung conviction because of the weakness of several weaknesses of the law. One weakness, kaya yung ating law enforcement agencies ayaw mag-file under the Human Security Act. Because meron nakahang sa kanilang ulo na 500,000 pesos per day na multa kapag na-acquit yung kanilang hinuli. So what happens is, or what happened, is that yung law enforcement, instead of filing for violations of the Human Security Act, ang ikinapile nila, ordinary crimes, murder, violation of illegal possession of firearms, explosive, etc., etc. So nag-iisa lamang yung conviction since that time. And we thought there was a need to amend. In fact, it was repealed. Instead of just amending, upon suggestion of Senator Drilon, we repealed the Human Security Act dahil nga napakaraming weaknesses, kulang sa safeguards pati. Itong anti-terror law is a good law. Ang perception lang, pag yung good law, itinayap mo sa isang bad government, perceived to committing abuses, then there you go. Yung perception, nagpe-persist yun. But if you examine all the provisions of the Anti-Terrorism Act of 2020, makikita natin na napakaraming magagandang pwedeng maidulot para maiwasan. Ang isang feature dito, Karen, if I may, Saan ka nakakita ng batas? Mulat sa pool, since time immemorial, na pagkahuli ng pulis o kaya ng military sa isang terrorist suspect, agad-agad susulat siya sa pinakamalapit na huwes. Hindi kung kaninong huwes, at pinakamalapit na huwes doon sa pinag-arestuhan. Susulat din siya sa Commission on Human Rights. Sasabihin lahat yung detalye, pangalan, address, anule, etc. Kailan inuli. Saan ka makakita ng batas na gano'n? Lahat ng safeguards pinasok na namin dito. No?
Okay.
At makukulong yung law enforcement na hindi tutupad ng 10 to 12 years. Yeah.
Sinabi po ninyo lahat ng safeguards na pasok na po sa anti-terror law. Naniniwala po ba kayo na inaabuso ng pamahalaang ito ang intensyon ng anti-terror law?
It's too early to say that, Karen, kasi hindi pa nga na-implement. Of course, implementable na ito kasi nga na-publish na ito sa Official Gazette. And there are pending petitions in the Supreme Court. So I don't think, I think it should be prudent for us not to discuss the details of the law because baka ma-subjudice tayo, Karen. Having said that, maski ano man ng batas, open to abuses ng mga nag-i-implement. No? Kami, lawmaking kami. Now, the implementation of laws passed by Congress is another thing. No? Whether or not it is this administration or past administration or future administrations, there will be law enforcement officers who will abuse the implementation of any law, regardless, not necessarily the Anti-Terrorism Act.
Okay.
Meron naman mga safeguards at saka meron naman silang kulong. At ito, dinagdagan natin talaga yung safeguards. As I mentioned earlier, unprecedented yung ginawa nating safeguards sa batas na ito.
What would you consider as the biggest failure of this administration that you believe you can actually make right?
Sa anti-corruption, nasabi ko na rin ito, kasi pag double standard ang pinatutupad ng isang leader, you will not succeed. Kasi pag iba yung treatment mo sa hindi mo kilala, iba yung treatment mo sa kaibigan mo, wala na, sira na lahat yung programa mo sa anti-corruption. No? Second, alam mo, it's not fair to judge them this early or at this point in time sa pag-address sa pandemic. But napakarami nakikita, hindi lang naman kami, pati naman kayo, pati yung mga mamamayan, maraming mga lapses. At ngayon nga, lumalabas yung issue ng corruption sa pag-procure ng mga medical supplies. And, these are very disheartening to say the least. Frustrating at saka revolting. Pagka nakikita natin na amid the pandemic, makikita natin na bilyon-bilyon pa yung pinagsasamantalahan, talaga nakakagalit.